everyone, and welcome to part 2 of my bad movie Christmas.
Yes, it's all your fault that we're here.
Yeah.
Just want that on the record.
This is, of course, Real Geeks. I'm Mike Montgomery, joined, as always, at the moment I'm wondering how, by Paula and Mikki. And this week we're here to discuss Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say it right now. I know last week I said, I gotta know. Sometimes.
Did the curiosity get satisfied?
Are we happy now?
I regret my life choices.
Oh, okay. Yay! We finally broke them.
Sometimes ignorance really is bliss.
Yeah, I regret your life choices too.
Now, normally this would be the part where we would go into the basic plot of the movie. Here's the thing. This movie has no idea what it wants to be. And in all honesty, I think that's what 90% of my complaints are going to boil down to.
Well, I mean, it's a movie geared towards children, so A, we're the wrong market.
Yeah. That's very true, and that was something that I had to tell myself in the theater repeatedly.
But it's also not geared towards children. It's geared towards the people who were children when this was originally a
Oh,
cartoon.
is that what they were going for? Okay.
And memo to Nickelodeon Studios, I'm pretty sure none of those people were looking for this movie.
So you put up a selfie of yourself in the movie theater.
Yep.
And there was like 2 people behind you.
By the time the movie had started, now, I was in the Bears Lake Theater for the 7:15 screening Friday night of opening weekend. There were, I would say, me and a total of 3 families in the theater.
Healthy opening.
Okay.
Healthy opening.
Oh yeah!
So I was there for the 11:45 screening Saturday morning, and there were, I would probably say, 10 groupings there.
Yeah.
So that would be, adults and associated children. I'm sure it was really weird us being the only adults solo in the theaters, because I don't think you brought kids.
Nope.
My kids are all grown, and they were too old when Dora hit, and they wouldn't have any. I told Kira I was going to go see Dora, and she just laughed and said, "Have fun with that." So
Now, in my case, being a white male at a children's movie by himself.
That must have been fun.
Oh no, I got damn lucky because there was not enough of a crowd for me to get suspicious looks. Now, that said, with this review, as much as we're probably going to go to mildly inappropriate places at times.
well, hey, considering one of the characters flashed his butt on screen, granted it was in cartoon form, but
This film went
what
there
now?
first. Yeah. This film went there first.
Oh, just remember, we're not the Hollywood Reporter. Because, so, the movie opens with apparently the actual live-action Dora the Explorer movie. And we get that for about 20-25 minutes.
so she'd be 8 years old there, her
Yeah.
and Diego.
And I'm...
Well, I actually kind of like the way that they did that, because
Yeah.
it wasn't like 25 minutes of that. They did a hyper-realistic version of the cartoon to begin with for about 30 seconds, which is revealed to be like kids playing and imagining things. And it's like, okay, that's cool. I really like the way that you managed to explain everything within the first minute by just rolling hard into it and then peeling it back in a realistic way. But the world that they then create is itself so cartoonish and absurd. I really actually kind of like the way that the 2 parents in it are clearly sane and normal people. And Dora is not.
Dora's
insane. I really like that at some point she turns to the camera, and I know this is a thing from the cartoon where she goes, "Can you say this?"
Delicioso?
Delicioso. And Michael
Say
Pena.
delicioso.
Michael Pena just. What are you talking about? And it's the most honest thing ever.
No, like,
Don't worry, she'll grow out of it.
Yeah, it's like it's very much that joke that like they couldn't not do it.
Yeah.
But they do it well and get it out of the way quickly. So like I was in the theater just like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, we're not going to beat this to death. We're going to have this one moment, and then we're going to carry on. But her character never really changes from that initial introduction. The world around her changes.
Now,
she remains.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's a 10-year span of, because it goes from when they're 8 years old to when they're 18.
Yeah.
And her parents live in the jungle.
Yeah.
Her only playmate moved to Hollywood because his mom and dad, his mom got a job. So she has no friends. She has no influence outside of her parents, who she lets us know a couple times are professors, and she was homeschooled. So she has no outside influence other than the jungle and the animals and her intelligent parents. So you're surprised that she's still...
No, surprise is not the word, that's for sure. It's just,
you know what?
This is perfect in that sense of being like, no, she's been alone with nothing but animals and a ridiculous, like, encyclopedic amount of knowledge. She's totally one of those kids who is just like, everything's great, and hey, did you know that? And it's just like, okay, good. Moving forward.
But at the same time, though, when we meet, I think she's actually, like, in the movie at least, 16.
Okay.
And when we meet 16-year-old Dora, while they don't explicitly say this, she has a GoPro, is running through the jungle, and appears to be filming a video for YouTube.
Yes, she does. This is absolutely true. I wish they had actually gone back to that and, like, maybe suggested that she does have some sort of presence, or there's an in-universe explanation for why she still talks like this. It's because she is essentially Steve Irwin. Here's the camera, here's her show. That would have been a great way of doing it. It's just a shame that they dropped that idea.
Like, there's a lot of this almost works. You're almost there, but the movie continually just refuses to take that one last step. And that is essentially, that's Dora movie number 1. Then we go to Dora movie number 2, where Dora's parents decide to send her to live with her cousin Diego and go to high school because apparently, I don't think they had the budget for what would have been a much more interesting children's movie.
Yeah.
So now instead we jump to the high school fish out of water Dora the Explorer movie.
Yeah.
But specifically, it's not like full-on fish out of water. It's more like Dragon Ball Evolution fish out of water, where it's like, here's a vague concept of a high school, but I don't want to put any more thought into it than you want me to put any thought into it. So we're just gonna show him in class a few times, show her in class. Oh, they've embarrassed themselves, they don't understand. Because how do you have repercussions for embarrassing yourself in high school if you A, don't engage in the social hierarchy, B, immediately leave to go on an adventure in South America when someone shoves you into a crate?
And that's the opening of Dora the Explorer movie number 3, where suddenly we have a Junior Tomb Raider movie.
Which was actually better than a couple of the last Tomb Raider movies. I actually thought this was a really successful Tomb Raider film. It was fantastic.
You had first the Dora movie that you expected, and if you're taking your kids to this, would have probably preferred. Then the Dora movie that they had the budget to do. Mm-hmm. And then the Dora movie where somebody went, oh, people are probably expecting this kind of movie. We should probably do that.
Yep.
There is one more thing that we gotta hit, and that's the simple fact. This is Nickelodeon's first live-action movie adaptation since Last Airbender. And at least this time they didn't whitewash anything.
Yes, that's true. They managed to get the ethnicity of their characters right. Such a grand concept. So amazing.
It's like, it's not overtly racist in any way.
No.
There were music choices where I went, I have questions. but I'm not in a position to voice those questions.
The witch woman, wise woman, whatever, the
guardian.
The guardian, the white chick, the white old chick who...
But she wasn't white.
No, she like started off really whiter and then became like this Incan.
Yes.
Like actual Incan, and it was just one of those weird things of like, I can understand having like an older woman hiding and she's in like a reverse Melisandre or whatever, but it was, when I was watching it, it's just like, that's such a weird thing to just be like, okay, so this old white lady's turning gold. Okay, oh, she's an ancient Incan. Somehow. Could you explain how these people have just been hiding?
I'm trying to figure out how this woman that lives out in nature by herself
I think it's going.
has how many cups and plates to offer guests a drink?
That's not even where I was going.
The references in this are so like,
No.
how that's Last Crusade is almost 40 years old.
Oh, hold that thought. We're going to be going there.
Okay.
We're going to be going there.
Okay.
But as soon as this old woman, who appears to have been, like you said, like living entirely by herself in these Incan ruins for her entire life.
Supposedly. We don't know how old the ruins are.
The instant she was on screen, I thought of you.
Me?
And there's a very specific reason for this. Because I took one look at her and thought, purple hoodie. Go back to our Robin Hood review. Now, as I said at the end of our last review, there's one joke, one sight gag in this movie that I immediately went, no, that doesn't work.
And it was so...
And I can prove it with personal experience.
But it goes by so quick. It was so featured in the trailer. And then it just like...
Oh, yeah.
Happened and moved on, never... So please, your obsession.
Oh, like that was other needless moment number one. Like there's a moment there's during like I said, Dora movie number 2 where she goes to high school for basically no reason. And this scene where she gets her backpack gets stuck in the bus door and the bus drives off is, I can't believe I'm saying this for this movie, especially after Hobbs and Shaw. That joke is scientifically impossible. Because I have actually had that happen to me. In reverse, because thankfully I was actually inside the bus at the time. But I've had that happen to me on Metro Transit buses twice. You can pretty clearly tell that there's a rig to hold that bag in place.
Well, yeah, because if it were real life, the weight of her would have shifted everything down, and she would have been
That's
on the
the next
street as opposed to
problem.
hanging in the air. And of course, I'm watching the bus pull away because she's hanging by the backpack, and her feet and her arms are flailing. And I'm watching it drive away, and there's a parked car, and I'm wondering how much clearance they're going to have, and do they get her past the car, or do they... I mean, does he stop before hitting her?
No, it's like, I'm sorry. The only logical play out of this joke is Dora is dead. And the movie is fucking over.
20 minutes later.
I'm sorry, this is a movie where...
This children's movie is not living up to my artistic expectations! This is nothing like Citizen Kane. Nothing like Citizen Kane!
There's a lot, like... The bus joke is wrong, but it goes by so quick that I was almost willing to forgive the movie. But that...
2 hours later.
Yeah, yes, what was the children's movie's expectations of your disbelief? Tell me!
Apparently, an anthropomorphic, talking fox that steals everything in sight is perfectly fine with everyone!
No explanation whatsoever. Why is he wearing a mask? Because fuck you!
2,000 years later.
Made of giant rock, pretty much by itself, by pretending it's a carjack! Fuck you! That's where I just went, no!
He stood up in the theater of 4 other people the only adult alone that screamed, "No! I say no, movie!"
Too damn far!
Eventually.
And at this point, this movie has been literally lifting from the Indiana Jones franchise so damn liberally. Harrison Ford might as well have goddamn walked on screen.
There were parts of Snow White where she's talking to animals. There were parts of, like I said, Dorothy in the field, and Tomb Raider, and yeah. So it borrowed.
Yeah.
It's like it's the simple fact that this movie is trying to do everything and won't commit to any of it. Like, again, pick one movie and stay on that track. Like, when I would have been much happier with a film starring 6-year-olds, I feel like that's saying an awful lot.
Hey, the unwritten rule, well, actually, no, it's actually written, don't work with children, don't work with animals, and I think, well, they had animals, but yeah, I don't think they're going to work with 6-year-olds if they've got a choice.
I don't know about you guys, but I have nowhere left to go here, so unless anyone has anything else.
No, I kind of want to put this one out to pasture and nuke the pasture from orbit.
I almost want to Old Yeller this movie.
Oh.
Yeah, I went there. Deal with it.
No.
But ratings, I can't do better than.
Do we have to?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't do better than a 2.5. I don't have it in me. If this movie had committed to something, and okay, when I say 2.5, I have to say 2.5 with an asterisk, because yeah, if you're taking this movie like with your kids, yeah, they're maybe going to enjoy it. At this point, I don't know why a 6-year-old would be all that interested in a live-action Dora, because if it's not animated, they probably don't care. And again, this is like, just pick one. If you want to go ridiculous, cool, commit to going ridiculous. Like, even with just with Boots and Swiper, they tried to have their cake and eat it too. If you're gonna have a movie where there are anthropomorphic animals that can talk, fine, but you gotta go all or nothing. For any parents watching, just remember 2 things: the movie's short,
yes,
and if like I said, if you pretend that this is all taking place in the mind of an unconscious, possibly dying child, the whole thing gets way more bearable.
Which is why, personally, I'm going to give it a 3 because, not because the child dies, but because it has those moments of lucidity and insanity, and her portrayal, I can't remember her name right now, Dora.
Isabella Moner.
Isabella Moner is really good for that level of, like, you're committing to naivety at an absurd rate. I like that. I wish that the world around you was a little more reactive to that absurdity, instead of either itself being absurd or just being, like, lazily snarky.
Again, we are not the right
No.
market. We are not the 3 adults gonna watch this movie, but no kids. Again, parents, have that talk with your children. Don't go with strangers. Don't trust strangers. Safe words, those help too.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'll go 3. I'll go 3. The acting wasn't that bad. Diego could have done a little bit better, but I mean, they're young people.
And where I'd said earlier that if you're not related to Dora, you're not an actual character.
Yeah.
He was kind of the midpoint, because he's there, like, he both is her cousin,
yeah,
And
But they haven't seen each other for 10 years.
for the high school portion of the film, he's also the requisite stereotypical jock.
Yeah,
Yes.
he is a walking checklist.
Oh yeah.
Of like, okay, so he has to be rude at some. Yeah, okay, he has to be yeah. He's a bad friend, but he comes around. Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, he gets in a relationship with someone, but yeah, okay. It's just all right. The actor, the guy that was performing that, like as Diego, he more or less had to appear in scenes, and other characters tell him what's happening or what he's even feeling and thinking, and his job is to go. Because he certainly wasn't doing anything expression-wise. Just, yes.
Yeah.
Right,
So no, I mean it was okay. Again, we are not the right market, but I'm trying to think of if my kids were 6, would I have brought them to this? No.
No.
If my kids were 10, I would have brought them to this.
Yeah. And kids would probably enjoy this.
Yeah.
We're complaining about the structure and everything, and it's like kids aren't going to complain about that. Kids are going to be
because
entertained
they're
by
not
the
as
fact it keeps
jaded as
moving.
we are.
Yeah, but it keeps a pace as well, so they don't get bored.
Exactly.
It's 4 different movies and then a dance scene, so that it's like, yep. Keep going, go, move. We're gonna get to the end. It's an hour and a half. It's fine.
Oh yeah, no, like I think for me with that, what it comes down to is I could see all sorts of wonderful children's movies that this could have been.
Mm-hmm.
And I can think of a lot of really terrible children's movies that, like, I watched as a kid that this blows the out of the water.
Oh yeah, like
So it's not bad. It's just.
I mean, it's summertime,
Yeah.
so if you're looking for a reason to get the kids out of the house, it's not 3D, which means that you're paying a regular movie ticket.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, it's an air-conditioned theater and 2 hours to kill. There you go.
And there's lots of
Have fun.
seating.
Yeah.
Oh man, is there ever?
No worries about the crowds coming in and you're not going to get a seat because, yeah.
Yeah, no, but like at the same time though, if your kids don't know about this movie, you don't really need to tell them. The fact that 16-year-old Dora uses the final trap in this temple to kill the bad guy, and they won't even commit to that.
Can you say, I don't have to save you?
Again, potential for a much better movie. So with that, next month we'll be hopefully back in our regular studio. Again, please support your local library. As we'll be taking a look first at It Part 2, or Chapter 2, or Book 2, or whatever the hell works for you. And I'm not 100% sure yet if we're going to do it, but if we do a second movie next month, we'll be looking at the Russo brothers doing a police film starring the Black Panther as we check out 21 Bridges. So with that, as always, you'll find me outside of this at pretty much any local charity event that has a group of cosplayers appearing. And what do you have coming up, Paula?
I'm definitely set up to be going to decaf.
There we go.
Yep. So Cal sent me out the email. I've been removed from the wait list, and I will be setting up a decaf in the tent outside. So yes, there are 2 venues for decaf. It's the Sunday that the vendors are there. There are workshops and talks and whatnot on the Saturday, but the vendors are there only on the Sunday. And find me in the tent.
And hopefully it's not the wind tunnel.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And I, as ever, am at youtube.com/mygenderiscinema, and I'm currently working on a video about how you're using decimation wrong. Stop it.
That's where they kill off half of something, right?
No, that's when you kill off 1/10 of something.
1/10, yes. That was the whole point.
Stop saying decimation's so wrong. It's decimated. No, it's not.
But it sounds good.
I know.
Said every Hollywood writer ever.
somebody needs to go back and refresh their Latin.
So on the note of our criticism of the lack of Latin in Hollywood scripts, we'll see you in a few weeks, and that's a wrap.
Bye.
Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons, share this video with your friends, and drop us a line anytime you like.